And hello world, it's Lee Kelson coming to you live from Immerse 2017. We've been struggling with internet connection here all day, but we've managed to get as much done as possible. And we've had a few more technical problems just now, but we've got it live, and I'm here with Karen Sanders, and Karen's from Real Serious Games, and you were on one of the panels earlier today.
Yeah.
So Karen, can you just tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I'm a actual construction engineer as my background, and however, about 9 years ago, left the construction industry to sort of understand how we could take entertainment games and apply them back into the construction sector. And so my company is in Brisbane, and we're building virtual worlds for training and also for planning high-risk projects. Yeah.
Right. And your company name is Real Serious Games.
Yes.
So that's supposed to try and differentiate yourself. We're not playing games, but this is sort of real games.
It is really serious.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it is. It's training people in real world situations like emergency services.
So just give us an example of that. Emergency services. What's the type of game that you would create for an emergency service that would...
Yeah, so one of the companies we work with is a train operator in Australia, and you get a train derailment, right? And you want people who respond to train derailments to know what to do. But you can't train people on train derailments, but you can in virtual reality. You can derail a train, you can blow trains up, you can do whatever you want in VR and train people in these scenarios. So when the real thing happens, they're ready to move. Yeah.
And so I know that you mentioned it's primarily a services-driven business at the moment because people want bespoke solutions.
Yeah.
But you are moving into the sort of the product realm now.
Yeah.
So tell us about the first product that you've got going on the App Store.
So we've got a prototype out there for confined space refresher training. And if you're in the industry where it requires confined space training, which is quite a lot of industries, you can actually just go onto the Google App Store, find our app, which is a Real Serious Games app, download that, and then you can log on to the confined space refresher training.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you put the headset on, and how does it work?
So it's in the Samsung Gear VR,
Yeah.
and it's been designed for Samsung experience, and so you need your Samsung phone. And most people have one of those, and you just buy the. You do if you've come to Immerse.
You're trying to start something here, aren't you?
And you buy the headset, the Samsung headset, for about $150, and put that on, and you're actually in a confined space training experience.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what's the development cycles on these games? Like how do you take them from sort of zero to where they're ready to have an immersive experience?
Those types of training experiences are 3 to 6 weeks depending on the technical content. Yeah.
So interesting, I was talking to Charles and we were having a discussion about the educational, the commercialisation of the technology, and this is obviously the enterprise stuff. I think you actually referred to the enterprise stuff. I mean, I was involved in the early enterprise cloud stuff back in sort of the early 2000s, but seen it evolve pretty dramatically in the first 5 years, but certainly over the last 10 years you wouldn't know what the first product was. How mature is that enterprise market now?
It's not mature at all, so very much relying on early adopters who can see the value in the product. A lot of people, as executives and companies, haven't even tried VR. So you walk in there to sell an experience to them, and you're actually having to first of all train them on what the hardware is. So it's very juvenile in its in the market at the moment. Yeah.
And so how do you think that from an Australian perspective, as you say, early adopters, particularly mining, construction industries do tend to be laggards in technology.
Yeah.
They catch up eventually, but they're certainly not the earliest movers in those sectors, I wouldn't have thought.
No, but then there are the support industries that go around them. So there's quite a large labour hire industry in the mining infrastructure sector, and those guys will actually adopt technology. You've got other channel partners like there's some large safety organisations that go in and do a lot of the training for these large mining companies, and they would be early adopters. So, there are a lot of channel partners out there that would adopt.
And so one of the things I think, again, you referred to in your talk earlier today was the train drivers. And I think it was, not a very nice topic, but certainly pretty important around the suicide of people using trains as a way to commit suicide and the trauma that actually puts the train driver through. So is there a sort of VR experience that people are using around that to help with that?
Yeah, not I'm aware of. They've been industry been talking to us about whether it can be developed. So because VR is excellent for retraining your brain, and if there is a way that you can help assist people with PTSD symptoms by getting them back to work early, then VR is a walk up for that kind of solution.
Right.
So it really is in a trial form at the moment. Yeah.
So one of the other interesting questions that I asked Charles is do you see this, we're talking about training and education, do you see it replacing the real life? He was giving an example of a crane driver that basically learned how to drive the crane through VR, and then they put him in the real crane and he actually passed with flying colours. But is there sort of no replacing that hands-on of getting into some of that heavy equipment or driving a train? Or do you think that VR has the ability at some stage in the future to sort of really give you that immersive experience that you wouldn't even need to go onto the actual piece of equipment?
Yes, I do believe that. So the technologies that are coming out, like the haptics, that are going to allow you to feel kinesthetically, yes, absolutely. Right. You'll be able to sit somebody in VR and have them fully trained. And because we can build these virtual worlds to be very accurate and mimic the real world, that person has already learnt how to drive a train on that particular track, on that route, on that, in that cab. So I think we are going to get to a point where VR can replace the live training.
So I think, what I've learned here today is that gaming, it's sort of been born out of gaming, but it's now moving across sectors and industries. And the really exciting stuff for me is in the enterprise and how companies and, like you say, emergency services, those applications that solve real world problems, but then also can, have a business model that's sustainable.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Is that challenging in real serious games now?
It is, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's very much. Again, it's like most new industries. It's finding the person who wants to pick you up and run with you, and that's the success of most technology companies. Yeah. And but there's a real desire for VR out there now in enterprise situations. So from our point of view, the phones are starting to ring a lot more. Yeah. So if anyone is interested in getting into enterprise VR, now is a good time. Yeah. Like it is, people are starting to know what it is and where to place it into their business. Yeah.
And so if people want to find out more about real serious games, your website?
Yeah, the website, absolutely. And
social media, are you on social media?
Because we're a bit of a lot of engineers and tech people, we are not so good on social media. But we're going to get better at that.
Good. Yeah. Well, we might be able to help you with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Real Serious Games, the website was realseriousgames.com.au, is it? Or .com, realseriousgames.com. Go and check it out. So good luck. I know, as I said, I started in the Enterprise Cloud back in 2004, 2005. People were telling me then that no company would put their data into a cloud or whatever. That's right, all I can say is, we proved you wrong.
Yeah.
So let's hope you do as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to. I'm very confident.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for talking with us, Karen. Good luck.
Right,
Cheers.
Cheers.